Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 10th Man. I just want to start off by saying thank you to everybody that checked out my last video. I was definitely humbled by the response that I got. I actually hit a high for views in one day, actually. So this single most viewed video that I've produced in one day. So that was pretty that was pretty cool. That was uplifting, and it was good to see that the message, really important message that we're trying to put out there, that it's hopefully getting seen and circulated around with the other listeners. I'm also excited for the Anchor podcast. It's closing in on 1,000 downloads since I started, and depending on what metric you're using to describe 1,000 listens, you can make it seem more or less impressive. So it sort of depends on how you look at it. Obviously, those aren't record-shattering numbers by a long shot, but it feels like a cool milestone for me. It's enough that it shows me that I've been putting time into it and haven't given up just yet. So again, just very appreciative, and even the comments that are of dissent, I appreciate those too. It stirs up conversation and dialogue, and as I say to my friends doing this podcast, I want to stir shit up. So I don't have any problems with the dislikes, thumbs downs, and comments, calling me whatever, as long as we're circulating positive feedback and good energy. So having said all that, there's another milestone that I do want to talk about today, and that is the 150,000th case of death. 150,000th death from COVID. We surpassed today in the United States, and I was looking into it. February 6th was the first date of a known death in the United States. So 174 days, we've got 150,000 deaths, so which is just shy of 900 deaths per day that we've had since February 6th. If you've been watching my YouTube show, or if you follow me on Instagram, I've done some other shorter videos. I've talked about this before, so you know my stance on this whole COVID thing. But in a long and short of it is, I don't understand the pushback on any of it. The masks, the people call it a hoax. Two months ago or so, I had done a video where I basically expressed my concern with us lifting the restrictions on masks. We did it a little bit here in California. Other states did it to a much larger degree, Florida and Texas for one. But it's personally upsetting being in California, which I like to think of as a beacon of doing what's right in these sorts of situations, and being one of the better states in terms of our response to this pandemic. Unfortunately, though, California is one of the leading states of the last 7 days in terms of increase in cases and deaths, right up there with Florida and Texas. So no offense to those states, but I don't consider that in good company in this context. So that's disappointing. I'm certainly not trying to call myself any kind of psychic. I don't think that it took a lot of foresight to make that prediction that this is what was going to happen if we lifted sanctions too early, simply because of the fact that we don't have a vaccine. I don't understand how we could think that anything else would happen realistically. It just sort of felt like one of those things that we just decided, well, it's summertime, and the heat will probably kill it, and we want to go back to the beach. We want to go back to the barbecues. So that didn't really work out. We've had a spike in cases. And I guess I just kind of venting my frustration with the fact that it's taken society 150,000 deaths, and we still have people fighting this, calling it a hoax. Put another way, it's how many, 30, I don't know the math off the top of my head. How many 9/11s have occurred since this started? 3,000 deaths. We hit a third of that every day. So I guess 60 9/11s we've had since the first death. And I remember when 9/11 happened. I was in high school, and we had some pretty extreme responses to that. That one day, that one occasion led to the Patriot Act, led to increased craziness at the airports and basketball games and whatnot. So it's unfortunate that we don't have that kind of emotional response to something like that, to something like what's happening with COVID, that we did with 9/11. And I guess I just want to say, try to have some more empathy. You're not wearing the masks for yourself. I talk about memes a lot too. I really hate memes when they're used to try to spread information, because they, even if they happen to be factually correct, they grossly misstate or are missing a lot of context for the statement. And I see these ridiculous memes where they show people wearing hazmat suits and bigger masks for doing paint or working in hazmat. It's such an ignorant comparison. It's not even correct. You don't wear the masks to protect yourself. You wear the masks to limit the chances that you infect somebody else. And when we first started with the masks, and I started seeing more and more people wearing them, I really liked it, and I still enjoy wearing the mask. I enjoy seeing other people out there wearing the masks. I don't see them as sheep. I see them as compassionate, empathetic people who care about other people's health and don't want 900 people dying every day. That's since February 6th. That's almost 6 months ago. A day. 900 people a day for 6 months. And it's still a hoax. I've got a sister-in-law who's a respiratory therapist, and she's working in the thick of it, and just completely overwhelmed with her job and with the stress and with the cases she's seeing. So, personally, and just in terms of watching the world, I know this is not a hoax. It's not a joke, and it's depressing, really, honestly, that the fact of wearing the masks has been established that it absolutely helps to curb the cases. Nothing 100% stops anything. That's why they say 99.9% of germs are killed by your hand sanitizer. You curb the chances. That's the thing. Don't take the fact that it doesn't stop 100% of the cases to merit not doing it at all. You wear your seatbelt. Doesn't mean that you're never going to crash and die, but it helps your chances. So 150,000 people have died, and that's a pretty upsetting metric to think of, how much time has passed and how much we haven't done how much we did do at the beginning. We basically we basically tossed all that away, started over, back to where we were in March, really. Still no vaccine. So I really don't, I don't mean to make this an overly depressing video. I think I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts. Disappointment. Wear the masks, wear your mask, and when you're wearing it, don't think that you're a sheep. Think that you're caring about other people. Even if you, for whatever reason, don't think that it does anything, what harm does it cause? You're giving other people hope that maybe they won't get sick when they're walking around you. I guess you either care about that or you don't. Thanks a lot for sticking with me. Sorry that this was a little bit of a more depressing episode, but as I said, I'm gonna express thanks for the positive milestones for my YouTube channel and my podcast. Then I feel it prudent to also acknowledge the not so good milestone of COVID-19. So please continue to take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks a lot for checking me out again. I'll be talking to you again very soon. Have a great rest of your day, and remember, don't be afraid to question the consensus.